everybody, it is Steve, your friendly neighborhood lawn gnome. Welcome back to another video over here on That's Comical, and if you're watching it, it happens to be a Wednesday. Happy New Comic Book Day. Well, yes, you probably have already watched my Daredevil Born Again Season 2 review, and because you've probably noticed the shirt is still the same. Yeah, I sort of had to do some major catch-up on reviewing certain things that I have been watching, and this was the only time that I really had to film, and I really don't feel the need to make the change in terms of my clothing. And for a video that is going to be showing up a few weeks later, there is no doubt in my mind that you will be seeing me wearing this shirt again so I could talk about the Amazon Prime series Spider Noir starring Nicolas Cage. I'm already one episode in, and let me tell you, I am having such a great time with it, and I'm really looking forward to the rest of the series. So today we're going to be taking a look at another Marvel special presentation from Disney Plus, and that is The Punisher: One Last Kill, starring Jon Bernthal, of course, playing Frank Castle, aka The Punisher, and Judith Light. If you don't know who Judith Light is, you were not alive in the 80s and you didn't watch Who's the Boss. I did not watch Who's the Boss religiously, but I know who Judith Light is. She's also been in a couple of other shows that I have been watching recently. She was in Julia, which was also a great HBO show that I enjoyed very much with David Hyde Pierce. But I was really excited to see something from Marvel featuring The Punisher because I have not really enjoyed The Punisher in a lot of the things that Disney has offered us in terms of the MCU. I mean, him showing up in the second season of the original Netflix Daredevil series was pretty darn cool, and that was the first time Jon Bernthal ever became The Punisher, and considering what The Punisher has been in film since he was originally there in the 1980s, we had been dying for a truly great version of The Punisher, and I think the Netflix series gave that to us. But the solo series that was on Netflix, I was really not the biggest fan. I didn't really like the direction that they took. I didn't really care where the direction went. But I always have said that Jon Bernthal was a great Frank Castle. So, showing up in Daredevil Born Again a couple of times, really curious to see how he's going to be portrayed in the new Spider-Man movie this summer because, whoa, The Punisher: One Last Kill is a treat if you love action, and especially if you want to see the MCU finally break every rule that it has put in its own personal book, because wowie, wow, this small special packs one hell of a punch. It starts off a little bit slow for me because we basically see Frank Castle suffering from very serious PTS, dealing with a lot of flashbacks from his time seeing a lot of battle and war, and then of course learning more about the manhunt that he personally did alone to hunt down all the members of the crime family that killed his wife and kids. But what he didn't realize was that he left a very dangerous person alive, and she basically comes to him in the project where he's living saying, there's a bounty out on you, and there's going to be a whole bunch of people coming after you. It's going to be cold-blooded killers that have basically taken the New York City streets apart because of the fact that the Punisher has not been on the streets, which doesn't make sense to me at all because of the fact that if this is the Punisher and this is the MCU, you would figure that crime wouldn't be too terrible because you'd have heroes like Daredevil and Spider-Man and Jessica Jones, just to name a few, running all over the streets of New York City, not to mention the Avengers. So why is it that this little pocket where Frank Castle is residing just happened to be like the worst of the worst, like hell has risen from the deep bowels of the earth? But anyway, that moment where all of these evil people come into his dwelling and try to find him, and they have no intentions of leaving anybody alive, the Punisher goes crazy. And I will say that this is not the first time that I've seen something like this. If you want to see something like this, with a little bit slower of a pace, because this is a mile-a-minute action, but something that gives you a little bit more time to really get the violence up close and personal because it's an actually full-length film, I would highly recommend Dredd featuring Karl Urban as Judge Dredd. That was one of the coolest comic book movies I ever saw, and considering the Judge Dredd movie featuring Sylvester Stallone from the mid-1990s, this version with Karl Urban is just absolutely insane, and it's one of the best comic book movies I've ever seen. But this is definitely out of that movie's book, and I was just so happy to see that a cinematic universe that has really tried to stay within the PG-13 confines to actually give this a mature audience only and really give us the Punisher as he's supposed to be based on the comics. This was perfect. I had such a great time watching it. It was a mile a minute, so you really sometimes had to rewind so you could actually watch some of those moments that you saw on screen again. This is not for the faint of heart. There is a lot of violence and blood and things that I don't want to mention right now, but it was awesome to watch because I have been craving something like this, just because I want to see the MCU push the bar a little further, but at the same time, finally get behind this version of the Punisher. So let's just say I got what I wanted. I'm excited to see how he's going to be featured in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Really curious to see how Jon Bernthal and Tom Holland are going to play off of one another, especially because of what we just saw. It's definitely going to be tame, but I still am curious to see a character like the Punisher in a Spider-Man movie, because a character like the Punisher should be in the Spider-Man movies. Daredevil 2, just saying. Anyway, if you haven't watched this special, you've got to check out The Punisher One Last Kill. It was definitely cool and definitely a roller coaster ride worth taking the trip on. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Please put your comments in the box below. Let me know if you've seen Punisher One Last Kill. Really curious to hear your thoughts, and I will see you in the next one.